we got to go back 5 years before we really start this episode. A fiery shape breaches the deepest wards of the Imperial Palace, and behind it comes through a tear, and even the 10,000 Custodes don't recognize it, so they start firing at it. And the Emperor looks up, and he says, Magnus. And then the Avatar says, Father. And then it disappears. And that, as we're going to talk about today, is the war in the Webway and the damage that Magnus caused through his little apparition, trying to giving a warning because of Horus. So, welcome back to Ultramorons. I'm your host, as usual, Lane, joined with
Connor, back again.
And this episode, we're talking about the Emperor. It's him.
Yeah, I am excited for this. I feel like we have not talked about the Emperor a lot. It's just kind of,
he's always a background character in a way.
Yeah, he's like, oh, it's this like godlike figure. It's like, oh, cool. What does he do? I don't know. He's just kind of there.
He's hanging out.
Yeah, he can't do anything because he's fighting in this one. Like, now I get to know what that is.
You're right. I feel like we definitely have, well, at least I definitely have been like, we'll get to him in the War in the Webway. It's like every episode, and eventually in episode 16 now, it's like, yes, here he is. Finally, we can tell you what that has been up to and why he can't do anything else. So yes, last episode we talked about White Scars finally, and them trying to get back to Terra, what decision they made. So, but before this is that a lot of this is kind of happening at the same time a lot of other events are happening. It's kind of over a few years. So the chronology may be a little weird, but I'll try my best here. So starting off, we have Constantine Valdor. We've talked about him last episode. He is, this guy here, the Custodian, and he is going to administer his private chamber to execute her personally. Her name is Koja Zu, and she had done a crime. Can't be doing crimes. But she's also done a lot of crimes, which is interesting. She had run cleansing programs. She's built hidden gene-worked armies. She has stole things. She has killed people. She's done all kinds of crimes. But none of those really matter, because that's not why Valdor is here. He says, the prospect of a rebellion was never a threat to the Pax Imperialis. Your crimes of apostasy are nothing. You are dying for the sin of your harvester machines drinking the last ocean. So she built machines that sucked up all the water on the planet.
She built a data center.
She built a data center. He's killing, what's his name? Oh, who's the AI guy?
Good. Peter Thiel.
Peter Thiel and the other, Sam Altman.
Oh, yeah.
They fused into one person. That's Koja Zu. And then he is killing her because, yes, she's drunk the last bit of water. And Terra is dying of thirst. It's a real bad problem here. There's a lot of, because, you can't just make more water.
Right.
Obviously it rains, but the planet is so destroyed by techno-barbarians, nuclear wars, all sorts of things. So the water's gone. You gotta get water from other planets now.
Right. I know, at least from what we've seen about kind of the aesthetic, I don't know if I've seen a picture of Terra, but I feel like it's going to be super over-industrialized.
Yes. It is a hive world is what it would be called, which is hive cities cover the entire world. It is. I think we talk about a little bit with mega cities from Judge Dredd, but they're everywhere. And yeah, it's Mad Max.
Yeah.
The world is a giant desert now, and it's just cities on top of cities on top of cities, and it's kind of sucks, honestly, to live there. It is the worst place you can live, kind of. At least the modern lord is. Back then, maybe it's a little bit better, but
okay.
At least you have the Emperor there. But he says you stole the water. That was the last bit of the water in the world, and you have taken it all. Because without that water, it's going to cause a lot of problems. If you raise any type of rebellion, any type of threat into our armor, we can kill all of them. We can't bring back the water.
Right.
No warp shenanigans can do that. So she laughs at him and she's like, really? For stealing water? You're going to kill me for stealing water? And he says, Terra is a thirsty world. And she asks him, can you at least save my son? And he says, he will be armed with silver, armored in gold, and burdened by the weight of an ultimate expectation. And she says, will he live? He says, if he is strong. And then she says, and he will live. And then she closes her eyes and Valdor kills her. And the 4-year-old boy is taken that night to be tested against the 10,000 as one of their own. So he takes her son to become a Custodian, a Custodes, which is very crazy to think about. In a way, it's almost like, wow, what an honor. Because we talked about before, your child gets picked up for the spaceman program. You're probably like, what? My child gets to be one of the Emperor's angels? Incredible. No, actually, your child gets to be one of the Emperor's personal bodyguard.
Right.
Oh, that's you. All right, then kill me. Because that is it's like God coming down and saying, I need one of your children as one of my angels. Yeah, you got it. What do you say, God?
Is that common for them just to be like, yeah, okay, I'm going to take your kid and he's going to go become
it's so unlike, it's like a billionth of a chance, because the 10,000 are literally called that because there's only 10,000 of them in the entire universe.
Right.
Now, some die and then they replace them, but that means somebody has to die for you to replace them. These 10,000 super warriors that are stronger than Ultramarines by every measure. So it's yes, it is so impossibly rare. But Constantine Valdor is the guy that would do that because he is the Captain General of the Custodian, so he would show up to do that.
Okay. So also with the Custodes, are they former Space Marines, or are they a separate process?
Totally separate.
Okay.
So, and controversial, but custodians can be women because a different process. They're all handmade by the Emperor himself and Malcador and some Tech Marines specifically for what he wants them to be like.
Okay.
So they'll take them as kids, they'll do all their surgeries, they'll train them up, and they'll become their own handmade custodian. So it can be women because there's no process that says they can't be. Because Space Marines, the whole thing is that Space Marines can't be women because the gene seed is tailored for male chromosomes.
Okay.
Custodians don't have to worry about that. Same thing with Primarchs. Primarchs could honestly have been women too. Maybe the 2nd and 11th were women. Because they were also special made. They were made from the Emperor's genes and another woman's genes, and we'll get to her eventually. But so they could have been women, but these weren't. But yeah, custodians can also be women, and that wasn't the case until recently, and so people still cry about it. But get over it, nerds, because it never says it couldn't be. It just says it just never were. Right. So yes, it is anybody, any child was taken. So they're not Space Marines, and they're also incorruptible. And we talked about the last episode. Space Marines become more Chaos Marines all the time. Like Xavier Jubal, for instance, was the first Chaos Space Marine. That would never happen to a Custodian. It just is not built like that.
Okay.
So yes. So she dies, and on the other side of the galaxy, on the other side of reality, it kind of frames it as there are two men a long time ago. One kills another, and he needs to survive the first murder and label. And every murder since has fed this thing, and eventually it claws its way out of warp space and becomes a thing. And it's called the first murder, this demon spirit entity. And that is born. So now going back to the palace, about 5 years into the war now, where's Heresy? So we're jumping ahead. Beneath the palace, beneath the throne room itself, is a place that the Emperor built for the rest of the Imperium was never told about. This is the Webway, which is an ancient Eldar transit network, which is, like we talked about before, this highway that cuts through the warp. So you never have to worry about using any type of warp technologies to travel through space. And it's also like endless. They still haven't mapped the entirety. It also just changes around you. It's almost like a Euclidean 4D space. It is impossible to map. So eventually they find this, they have the Mechanicum going through there trying to fix it up and repair it and do what they can to get through. Because a lot of it's kind of fallen into disrepair because the Eldar are mostly gone, especially during the birth of Slaanesh, which I actually found this out recently. How long ago do you think the birth of Slaanesh was compared to the Emperor's Great Crusade?
I feel like it's going to be a long period of time, but now that you're asking the question, I'm going to say like a year.
It was like 200 years ago.
Okay.
It was, I always thought it was like thousands and thousands of years ago.
Right.
No, it was like very recent. Humanity actually was around in space when they saw it happen, which is the reason why the Dark Age technology kind of happened too, and like all that stuff, because that big cut in the warp caused a lot of demons and issues.
Okay.
So yeah, I didn't realize it. I thought it was a long time ago, but it was not. I learned that recently. So yes, they built this, and when that big Slaanesh was born, it killed like billions and trillions of the Eldar. It kind of left the Webway, got kind of left alone.
So the Webway, are they like? I'm trying to. I don't know if you have a picture. Is it like a physical tunnel, or
this is the best I can get you. It kind of looks like this. It is like a realm of like tunnels you see. It's hard to explain because it's never really explained. It's how do I explain it? It is what gets inexplainable. That's the whole thing, right? But what they know is it's like a place you can move through, like a giant spider's web. But sometimes you'll go through a tunnel and it'll lead through. It's like almost like a fog gate randomizer in like Dark Souls. Oh, this should go here. Oh, no, it doesn't. And then you go back through it, and then you end up somewhere else. So it's nearly impossible to map because you have to map it in like a. It's a what's that shape called? That the Mobius strip.
Oh, yeah.
It's like that where it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
So they're trying to figure it out, but they know at least that it's a transit network that the Eldar use to get around. The Eldar probably knew how to use it perfectly because they built it, or at least they had it. So maybe the old ones built it to get around as well. So yes, it is very helpful because it gets you anywhere you need in the universe. Well, not anywhere. There's like stops. There's certain exits it has.
Right.
And one of the exits is Terra. So
okay. So like, I guess, and maybe in your personal kind of interpretation of it, because it's hard to explain.
Right.
If I'm traveling through the warp, do I see this? Like, can I see the tunnel alongside me, or is it more of like
probably not?
Okay.
That's the problem. When we start getting into that type of stuff, it's like it's no, maybe, but also no, because like the warp is so weird. It's like an ocean, a chaotic, super violent ocean full of these weird energies. So in the ocean, you can like look in the ocean and you can see below you a certain point before you just can't see anymore.
Right.
That's where you can swim down. So now eventually you can see the bottom. So maybe you could probably bump into some of it in there because demons do get into the webway.
Mm-hmm.
So how do they do that? There must be some way they can see it and crawl through these cracks. So maybe, but I don't know if you have like a special vision or what.
Okay.
I would say maybe.
Yeah.
It's kind of like but it's probably trying to like find a fiber optic cable in the bottom of the ocean.
Okay.
Like good luck bumping into it.
Right.
It's so hidden, not hidden, but it's also just so out of the way.
Right. It's a small part of a massive space.
Infinite space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like trying to find another Earth-like planet in the galaxy. You're just like, yeah, good luck. Because remember the webway, not the webway, the warp is the same size in the same way, but this dark matter, right?
Right. Okay.
So yes, he is. Emperor's down there trying to get this thing working because he's like, this will be incredible to use for us. We can get across all the stars in no time at all and never have to feed the warp at all. We can basically drown out the warp and starve it out. Incredible idea. And then, Magnus did his whole thing and kind of broke it apart. So that wasn't good. But anyways, so they kind of have a checkpoint called the Impossible City, or Calastar, as it's called in Eldar. And this is kind of where they've been fighting at for a certain point, because Calastar is a lot of demons kind of flooded this place, and it's kind of that picture there of the cover of the book, them in this big weird city of many different ways, and
so this is in the warp, right? Or in the webway.
Yes, it's in like an underground tunnel, but like if you went start digging a tunnel under like we talk about the Hyperloop, it's like that. Like you're still in Nevada, right? Yeah. But you're in the protective tunnel. So it's like that.
Right. Okay.
So whatever creature digs through that tunnel and gets to you isn't there. So they're in the warp kind of right now, but they're also in the webway.
Okay.
It's supposed to be protected, but it's not. So yes, Magnus broke through here, and they've been fighting here for 5 years now. And there's this guy here named Ra and Daemon, who is kind of leading a lot of these charges here. So there's another guy named Jacerit and another one named Kadai, and they have died fighting. These two custodians have died because it is just so many demons at all times. Like you have the strongest fighting force available fighting these demons, and even still, it gets overwhelming. Also, the Sisters of Silence too, with all their warp powers or blank powers, still are struggling. So Ra only answers to the Emperor, or forgot his name.
Valdor.
Yes, Valdor. Goodness, his name has always slipped by me. So, but the Emperor's not really in the warp right now, though. He is sitting on the golden throne, kind of using the throne as a channel to keep the cracks from breaking further apart. Why the custodians go in there and kind of try to push this tide of demons back. Because if he gets him on the throne, it might cause like he's sticking his thumb in the hole in the dam,
Right.
Like, hey, I got to do this. What you guys do so the dam doesn't explode and all these demons seep in, because that would be really bad news if Terra gets overran. So there is this person, the Silent Sister person, that Mr. Report says he is unchanged. He remains enthroned and unmoving, unresponsive to any stimuli. He has not spoken since taking the golden throne. So he's just sitting on this throne quietly, just doing what he does. And Ra feels the Emperor has been watching him, though. He doesn't really get it. He just feels like he has like a weird presence, keeping an eye on Ra. So Ra has a friend named Sagittarius. And Sagittarius is a dreadnought. So you can only imagine how deadly something like this would be. Dreadnoughts are the strongest space marines have. Imagine a Custodian dreadnought. That is, like, good luck with that.
Right.
Because Sagittarius got really hurt fighting demons, and they said, well, you're getting put in the machine. And he says, fine up with me. So, but he tells Ra that he sees ghosts in the mist. He sees Eldar dead and the 10,000's own dead. And he's like, it's probably just warp weirdness messing with you. But he's like, look, we've been here for 5 years. Who knows what effect this has been having on us? Like, we're custodians, mind you, so this shouldn't affect us. But I mean, we're in the ocean here, So another guy named Custodian Diocletian Koros, an Oblivion Knight. An Oblivion Knight, his Sisters of Silence are called Oblivion Knights sometimes. Is Casarin. Haven't seen the sun in 5 years either. He's been fighting this war for so long. It's just kind of it is what it is. First, they come to the surface to get more wars, and they find Rogal Dorn has turned the palace into a pure fortress. Like, it looked like a nice little Taj Mahal, and now it looks like, I'm trying to think of like a giant fortress. I guess the ice wall from Game of Thrones. I don't know. Like, that's the best I can think of. But like, just this complete transformation. And you're like, oh wow, okay, you've been busy, huh? And Diocletian goes down there, and he comes up with a World Eater's helmet. And he pulls it off a body in the tunnels. So he's like, Traitor legions have been in these tunnels too. Then that's not good. So it's not just demons they're dealing with. Now, and we'll get into this a little later too, but also, Custodians don't like Space Marines. They don't really like Primarchs either. Mostly because the warp affects them very strongly. And Custodians are like, well, that's a skill issue. Wouldn't happen to me. So they're kind of always suspicious of them.
Okay.
Always feel like they're trying to do something, or especially with Horus now, they definitely are like, we were right the whole time. Because they even told the Emperor, hey, I don't think you should make Primarchs. I think it's a bad idea. And the Emperor says, let me do the thinking. So Dorn, Malgador, Valdor, and Fabricator Locum, Trimegia of Mars. So Mars in the whole Civil War. So a lot of them came here. So this Fabricator, Trimegia, meets with Diocletian and Kira. And they're basically giving them a picture of what's going on. That Dorn's Imperial Fists are fighting a solar war, which basically is a war inside their own, the solar system. And they're kind of stretched out all over, which means Horus's reach is already closer now than they thought before. That he's already in the solar system with some of his guys trying to do stuff. Now they're not very effective. They're not getting the Terra, but he's already here.
Right.
And Dorn is that he has a kind of objection to the plan. And because Diocletian and Kira are saying we need to recruit human volunteers into a war. But anyone who survives this cannot be told what they did, and then they need to die. Basically, they need to be, but we need their help. And Dorn's like, I don't know about that one. That seems a little. I don't think he's going to get people on our side. So Kiera talks to him in sign language because Sister Silence don't talk. They take the oath of secrecy or oath of something where they just don't talk, but they use like a certain type of sign language. And there's actually a video, I don't know if you've seen it, there's like a trailer for the new Horus Heresy, like board game stuff. And it's, I think, Valdor talking to Janisha Kroll, who we'll get to in a second. And she's talking in a sign language, and he can read it because he just knows. But also, they don't even need it. Most of the Custodians, because they're just so close with them that they can just move their eyes a certain way, and it's like their own type of sign language. So, but she's doing it for Dorn because they don't talk.
Right.
And Legion translates it because he understands it, and Dorn doesn't really understand it. And she says, necessity, goodness, overcomes morality, never without regret, never without shame. Yet even a moral victory must outweigh moral defeat. The victor will have a chance to atone of conscious demands. The vanquished lose any such opportunity. And then Dorn says, you quote my own brother at me? He's like, you ain't slick. And Diocletian pushes back. He says, look, it's kind of being hypocritical that your guys are dying for ground that matters a lot less than this. Like this, to the Custodians and the Sister Signs, this is the most important thing right now. Everybody should be here helping. Because if we lose the Terra, then what is the point of the war?
Right.
And Dorn's like, how are you going to say that about my own sons? Like, you're being crazy. So it kind of doesn't really go anywhere, but they do the recruitment anyways, because at the end of the day, it is what it is. So now we go back a little bit to a flashback. And Dorn is kind of hanging out. He's not in the War of the Webway. He's too busy strengthening the palace. And there's a whispering tower called the Astrotelepathica, which is 1,000 astropaths sit in tiered harness thrones that are forming a single choir. Basically lets them send messages way over super distances, like we talked about last episode. This astropath named Abir Ibn Khaldun, who reached across half the galaxy to catch a transmission from an Iron Hands fleet, racing towards a world called Isfan 5. And Dorn is in the room and he hears it live. He's not supposed to hear it. This wasn't for him. And he says, my brothers are approaching Isfan 5. I need to be here. And the message comes to us in fragments, and Ibn Khaldun speaks it to him. The Gorgon of Medusa will be the first war of the Emperor upon Isfan. He will be the spear tip that cleaves the heart of Horus Supercal. He will be the Avenger. Didn't work out that way. Ferris has led the charge, and it kills him. But Dorn doesn't know that yet. What he knows is that the plan depends on Ferris waiting and not getting ahead of himself. Because there's so many different times to tell Ferris, you're getting ahead of yourself. You're too angry to see the plan here. And Ferris says, you're crazy. I can handle myself. And honestly, he would have if Fulgrim wasn't juiced up by a demon. Like, he was beating Fulgrim. So, but anyways, so Dorn demands, says, why didn't the choir send the best single telepathic message for this? Goodness. Why the choir didn't send its single best telepath for a message this important? He says, do any of you people understand what is at stake? And it says, our best is not yet among us. And Dorn asks, well, why not? It says, because his mind must be remade. And this astropath is a guy named Kai Zulain. And he is a sole survivor of a ship called the Argo, where the crew ended up turning on each other and became something real nasty. And Zulain heard every one of these deaths, unable to look away from it. And he's basically getting rehabilitated because it was like demon infection, just real eating each other. Real, what is that movie? Event Horizon?
Yeah.
Basically what happens to those guys. And he's the only survivor.
Okay.
And he has extreme PTSD.
Yeah. Was this a Space Marine ship?
No.
Or? Okay.
Well, maybe not. I don't think so.
Okay.
Because he's not a Space Marine. He is just a regular human.
Right.
And he's being rehabilitated, and he's getting his mind reset. And then sometime later, a psychic contamination incident through the Whispering Tower itself, two custodians end up finding Kaiserlin and take him. They say, I'm Saturnalia, Princeps, Carthagena, Invictus, Cronus, custodians, and they're super long names. And you are bound by Imperial law to my custody. If you attempt to escape or employ any facet of your astropathic abilities, you will be terminated instantly and without recourse to higher authority. And Zelane hasn't done anything. I just saw the worst thing ever happen. Why are you guys yelling at me? And the 10,000 take him to the palace to kind of wipe his mind and get him sorted out to be part of the choir. And this kind of becomes something called the unspoken sanction. That is, anyone who might be carrying something dangerous gets used until there's nothing left to use. So he survives interrogation. When he doesn't survive, what comes after? Basically, he gets hunted for what he knows, and he gets cornered and killed before anyone might use it. Because basically, he gets these visions as well. And this guy, Yasu Nagasena, ends up finding him, and he dies. And he says, your journey isn't end, Kaizu Lane. And Dorn comes to see the body himself, and he says, was it all for nothing? Yasu Nagasena, what happened here tonight? It says, the truth died here tonight. And Dorn stands over who might have told him what he'd seen. And it says, the only thing left to say is that this day has diminished us all. So, yeah, like, Kaizu Lane basically had, like, valuable information on Horus's Isfan 5 stuff. Because this is before all that stuff.
Right.
He's trying to get to the Emperor to tell him, and he just couldn't do it in time.
Who killed them?
The Custodians.
Okay.
Because he escapes, basically. And they said, like, they told him, if you try to do them, we're going to kill you. And they did. And Dorn was like, why do you guys just do everything? You guys just kill people. So, back to the main timeline here. A mechanic and protector named Alpha Row 25 is investigating a wiped out sentry post in the outer tunnels. He reads that these are human volunteers that were recruited basically as demon fodder and disposable. Basically what Dorn said. You guys are just going to use them to chew them up and get killed. But something shows up, and the thing that killed all the people here tears through him and 9 other automata with him. And his last act is transmitting everything that his sensors caught back to the God's fire before it finishes eating him. And the transmission reaches Endymion Ra as a shrieking, basically meaningless noise, but he kind of can see through this noise. And he says, brings to Sagittarius, who has all this dreadnought machinery that he can scan through it. It says, it repeats like static up, disconnection is breathing. Drach'nyen. And that is the name of this demon, is Drach'nyen.
Okay.
So the Emperor elsewhere also hears the same name somehow. And he tells Ra, at this point, what it means. It says the end of empires. So, in which I was before, that demons don't have the same names that humans usually do. Like, sometimes they are given a name, but sometimes it's a concept that has made a name. And so sometimes demons have true names that if you can speak a demon's true name, you have complete control over them. Now, Drakkan isn't his true name. That is just one of the names it has as well. Okay. We find his true name. Like, Angron now has a true name because he's a demon. It's not Angron anymore. It's something else that would bind you to him. Same thing with Fulgrim. The demon that possessed Fulgrim has also a true name. So, got it. And they're very hard to find. Demons don't want you to find them. You usually have to do some type of warp shenanigans to get them. Like, Lorgar probably has a couple of true names. And then I think we talked about, I don't know if it's on episode, but Grey Knights, when we get to them, they have a book of demons' true names. So if they run to demons, they basically go through these names, like, it's one of these, we're going to get you. And they do, basically locks the demon up, and he can't do anything. You kill him. You can, like, truly kill him. Right. So it's demons don't want you to have it. So, yes. So somewhere else, in a place named Skoya, there's a 17-year-old ancestor speaker named Skoya, who sees Imperial force descend on her world for a tithe of people. We'll get this later on, but a lot of worlds have something called a tithing, and it is, like, in church-wise, this means giving up some of your money. But for this, it means giving up people for the cause. And you can't say no, or else you're going to get thrown in prison or killed. And we're going to take him either way. So there's a woman with an eagle tattoo, and the Skoya spirits go silent the instant she's near. And this woman is a psyker. She's called Ancestor Speaker here, but she's a psyker. And then as this woman shows up, basically pick her up, it is a blank. Right, it's silencing these voices around Skoya, and the Sun Sister here is here to pick her up, because that's what they do. It's something called the Black Ships. They look around the universe for psychers, and they come and they pick them up, and they bring them back to Terra. For what? We don't quite know yet. I mean, for their cause, right? But for what specific cause, we don't know.
Right. And so is that what the tithing is? Is them taking psychers, or is that
anybody?
Okay.
So mostly it would be like for Imperial soldiers, water, food. Like we have in that we talked about with the Pharaoh's Lighthouse, that was a farm world. So a lot of that food gets distributed all around the area. Okay. Mechanican worlds have, industries, space marine children, so it's wherever they want to take, they're going to take it.
Okay, got it.
Think of it like a tax, basically.
Right.
They call it a tithe. So, yes, Skoya gets taken. I guess the place is called Skoya. No, her name is Skoya. I don't think the world is named, but yeah, she gets picked up by the Sisters of Silence, these flagships.
Got it.
So, going back to Diocletian, he is with a man named Zephon, who is a blood angel. And he got sent here as an ambassador after basically he got blown up so bad that he got to get both of his arms and both legs replaced by bionic. So he's not a dreadnought. He can still function, but he gets bionic limbs. But the bionic limbs are not really working for him. They're like barely, he has a little claw finger that slowly closes type thing, those classic things. So, because he used to play the harp. Like we talked about before, what does space marines do for fun? Some of them play instruments, some of them write poetry, some of them paint. He can't play the harp anymore. Like his fingers just don't work. Right. And he can barely even fire a bolter. So he's kind of useless. But Diocletian likes him. Magnus says, why would you pick up a loser like him? He says, I like him. There's something about him that I like. So, going to another character, Zagreus Kane. And I don't know if you remember him. He was on Mars during the Civil War. And he gets here and he wants to get Mars back because he loves Mars. It's his planet. And he says, I will help your cause specifically if you help me get Mars back. He says, I want a specific webway route to Mars called the Aresian Path. It has to stay open and defended no matter the cost, so I can use to retake my homeworld once the war is done. He says, Adnectar Primus Mendel was a soul of weak vision and anemic patriotism. Thus it follows us to work in the Red World's best interests. We three will oversee the rendering and weaponization of the Archimandrite's ascension. We will aid the 10,000 in their secret war and record the various avenues of this alien webway. And then, once we secure the Aresian Path, we will lead our people home. Maria agrees. She says, fair enough. She doesn't really know what the Archimandrite is, but she says, yeah, whatever that is. They're never worried about it. You can build a super weapon. We're going to take care of it. So she's like, fair enough. It's just the whole thing is like, if he finds that Aresian Path and he builds it, he's not going to help you with anything else. So it's a little, but hey, whatever. They're helpful.
Right.
So, going to another character. There's a lot of characters here. There's a lot of jumping around. I told you it's going to be a little tricky with here. So there's a woman named Baroness Jaya D'Arcus of House Verit, and she is in prison right now. And she has been starving in a cell for 151 days, not years, days. That'd be crazy. But she's a regular human. And a servitor shows up, goes to bring her food, and it stops. Stands there. And it's just an empty tray, puts the slot, and there's nothing on it. And she gets in the door and she says, like, oh, they're testing me now. Like, now they're just really just trying to kill me. They used to give her food. Now all the servers here give me empty plates. Now they're really trying to start me out. She says, if I breathe, I am unbeaten. If I fight, I am unbroken. All of a sudden, the door flies off the hinges. And she's like, there's no way a server could rip a door off hinges like that. Like, servitors are just like zombie robot men. So she picks up a little tiny shiv. She's like, whoever, I'm going to stab whoever comes in here. All of a sudden, a custodian walks in. She's like, I don't know about this one. And she asks him, have you come here to execute me at last? And she says, I'll accept that as affirmation. My name is Diocletian Koros of the 10,000, prefect of the Hykenatoi. Come with me, please, Baroness. I'm not going to kill you. You've been pardoned. And she said, the Sigillite would never overturn my sentence. And he says, the Sigillite had never sentenced you at all. So basically, Malcador doesn't even know the House really exists. So she's a little confused.
Right.
What I really like about Diocletian in this book, he's so straightforward to people because you understand these custodians don't deal with humans at all. So they're very straightforward, almost robotic in a way. So especially the way Diocletian talks to me, he's just like, yes, I'm here to help. No, I'm not going to kill you. Like in the way Terminator talks to Terminator 2, where he's just very straightforward.
Yeah.
It's like that. So he frees Jaya's whole court on the Godspire's battlements and puts the accusation on them directly. He says, House already marched the Emperor's children, broke faith, and turned their weapons on loyalist forces after learning the truth about Isfahan. He says, are you guilty or innocent? And then she says, I'm guilty. She says, I don't ask for mercy. She's like, I killed everybody. We were on the Emperor's children's side. We killed the Baron, and this is what happened. And Diocletian says, High Rock, as you know, no longer exists. And that's where she's from, is a place called High Rock. It's her homeworld. 14 million people were killed by the Emperor's children as punishment for their house's refusal to fight for them. And she didn't know that. So yeah, she's like, oh, they're on our side. We helped them, but they came back and they killed all of her people because they weren't on their side. And it's kind of a lot because it's like, it kind of shows you as well that this is the human cost as well. Like, you can't even trust Horus's guys to be on your side forever. Because she's like, we helped the Emperor's children back when they were good, and they came back and they just killed us because we didn't do one thing they wanted. So first, like, oh yeah, well then, they're bad people,
Right.
So we've got Diocletian says, I can offer you the Emperor's forgiveness, and I can offer you revenge. And she says, House Viridian will take both. So House Viridian is a night house as well. Usually whenever something's referred to as a house, it usually means knights. And she shows up there, and most of the knights are gone, and she gets a kind of a knight that isn't hers, but she gets attuned to it. And it's kind of a stranger's machine, salvaged war spoils from other houses, unpainted, unbannered, and smelling of someone else. And she's trying to get the thing moving, and it's not quite. And it says, it's doing what the knights do, right? They kind of try to outdo you. And it says, you resist its noble spirit, it resists yours. Two stubborn souls locked in discord. Don't want to call her down Discord, when poop, it needs to know. So eventually they do a live fire test. And she stops fighting the knights, unfamiliar rhythm, and simply just lets it do what it wants to do. All she does is raise a gun up and fire into a sack of wreckage. And it says, for the first time since setting eyes upon the war machine, she felt a tremble of connection. She could kill again, she could destroy. This was strength, this was power. So they're there. They had their whole Pacific Rim moment. So she comes back in House Viridian, which is really just her now, is ready to march. So before even that, I'm telling you, we're going all over the place this episode. Because it's like 5 years, we got to kind of condense into one thing here.
Yeah.
In years before Prospero, Archon land was summoned by the Empress personally to a hidden laboratory in Terra's Northlands. And there's a body laying in the surgical slab, hulking, scarred, cabled to monitor, still alive. And Land looks at the face and says, this is Angron. And the Emperor says, yes, I'm trying to undo the damage that has been done to the 12th. And basically, he has him cut open here, and he has his brain open, and has his hands on his skull, and has these little finger glove things on that he can map out basically what he's doing on these screens. It's a very sci-fi type scene.
Mm-hmm.
And he's showing that these black cybernetic tendrils are threaded through his brain and spine. And it is called, when Land had cataloged it, it was called the Crucimen. But Angron's Legion calls it the Butcher's Nails. And the Emperor asks Land to confirm something that he already suspects. And he says, yes. And so the Emperor says, you are looking at modifications to my original template of the 12th. More precisely, you are looking at modifications of primitive genius. With the alterations made to the limbic lobe and insular cortex, the surgeons have impaired the 12's ability to regulate any emotion at all. They have rethreaded its capacity to take pleasure in anything but the sensation of anger. Archon Land says his own emotions cause him pain. He says, no, Archon, everything. Everything causes him pain. Thinking, feeling, breathing. The only respite he has is in the rewired neurological pleasure it receives from the chemicals of anger and aggression. And Land asks, the obvious question, well, why don't you just remove it? And the Emperor says, I can remove it. And Archon says, why don't you? And he says, the only thing keeping him alive. So, yeah, it is basically, and we talked about before, like Angron's episode, when they talk about like Lorgar's like he's dying, these things are killing him. Like even the Emperor's like, I can't. Like they have replaced the meat of his brain with these wires and these machines somehow primitively, like I said, a primitive genius. Like this shouldn't happen. But because of the way it interfaces with the pirate biology, it made it even worse. So Landon asks why the Primarchs are allowed to call him father, since it's actually sentimental and out of character. Empress answers in the story about the children's writer and a wooden puppet who wanted to become a real boy. And Landon asks, what did that creature call the one who made it? He says, father. So, Pinocchio. Yeah. Empress like, I love Pinocchio. That's a great one. He said, they call me Geppetto. That's my real name. So there's some controversy with this scene. I don't say controversy, but it's a lot of like, people argue, does the Emperor really care about the Primarchs? Or does he see them as tools? And a lot of people think, no, he sees them as tools, and he used up and burned out until he's done with them. And basically with the scene too, he says, I let him call me father because why? Like that's what they want to call me because I created them, and it only makes sense. But I don't really see them as my sons. It's this weird like behavioral thing that it's hard, right? Because then also sometimes you get scenes with the Emperor being like, they are my sons, so it's weird. It's a weird. Hard to really pin down how the Emperor really feels about the Primarchs. Because also, you're getting an unreliable narrator here. This is Archon telling the story. So this is how Archon Land sees it. He's a Mechanicus. So his story isn't, it's tricky.
Yeah, you never get a concrete point of view from the Emperor, kind of how he thinks about it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard because you were right that then that's the canon of the Emperor. And it's like, are we sure we want to make that decision yet? You're playing Space Marine 2. Have you finished it yet?
Not yet.
Okay, never mind. I was going to say something that's kind of a spoiler, but anyway, all right, I'll cover that when you get to it. So Land never tells anybody that he had that meeting with him, and also kind of considers it a private honor, right? He's like, I get to meet with my Omnissiah. How many people going to do that? And I'm going to keep it with me. So, and that's also why he's volunteered to do this mission in the Webway, because he's like, well, you have the meeting with me, and you're my Omnissiah, so of course. So that kind of happened some years ago, and I want to cover that too because I think it's good to see he did try to help Angron. He just couldn't. I mean, his brain was. If I take out these cables, he's brain dead. What use is that for me? Now, could use some biomancy and refers to brain, sure, but then it would be Angron, and then wouldn't be the same template he made. So, yeah, it's a tricky one. I don't want to say like always making excuses because it's like, I don't know. And it's a sci-fi. How can I say?
Yeah.
Would he have figured it out? Maybe eventually, but he didn't have enough time. The whole heresy happened.
Right.
And obviously, especially now, Angron's a demon, so yeah, nope, that's it. That's never gonna happen.
Yeah, definitely not happening now.
Yeah, all he can do is really just kill Angron, like for real. Unfortunately,
And there's no, I guess, there's no way to like Demon, Angron, Demon, Fulgrim. There's no way to turn them back. Right? They're just kind of gone at this point.
Fulgrim maybe, because remember, he is, like he said to Horus, he was trapped in his own mind. Angron, no, he's been turned into a demon, whereas Fulgrim's been possessed by a demon.
Okay,
so it's a little different. Honestly, I would say with Fulgrim, probably not at this point. It's like so far gone. You'd have to do some real crazy magics. You're better off just to kill him.
Yeah.
And with Angron, like, what would you even turn him back into? You know, because like he would just turn back into Angron with the nails, and the nails would just end up eating his brain away. So it's like,
is it worth it?
Yeah, at that point, there's only not much you can do about it. Okay. So, yes, going back to this person, Majos Demona Hieronyma, who of Order Reductor, who is a Mechanicus, with a name like that, of course, right? She volunteers to be rebuilt into the General Kane promised to the 10,000. She wants to be basically turned into this machine thing, this giant, like, killing robot. And she's awake for the whole time. She says, don't drug me, I want to do it the whole time. And her vocal cords get removed so she can't scream, and her mind is fused permanently with a live, shifting map of the entire webway. And she keeps dying. And every time she dies, they say, illuminate her, basically, wake her back up again. So this surgery is insane. Whatever they're doing to her is some type of, they're basically putting a map of the ever-changing webway into this human's brain to use as like a GPS. And it shouldn't be possible, but it is. And it's very painful, and it kills her. Eventually, she steps up, and what she is now the Archimandrite. So that is what he was saying to as Sisters of Silence, was that I want to make this thing. And it basically is this thing, a machine that can map the webway to find that region path for us.
So there's no, like, I guess, her, that woman left, right?
Kind of. Her brain is in the machine, because then it would be an AI, and that's illegal. So she's still in there somewhere. It's just not quite her.
Okay.
This is kind of what she would look like. She's got a big robot, big killing machine. It's a very classic robot.
Yeah.
Nothing crazy looking, but it's huge though. That doesn't really give it justice because it's so many, but it's size of like a building almost. Okay. It's almost size of a night. And it's called the Archimandrite. And he asks, do you see the way back to Mars? And she does. She actually has this full map. And so he's like, nice, we can give it. Ark and Land finally realized that by looking at this map, it's a great machine, a machine of such power and purity to defy mortal thought. A throne of gold built to house the Emperor's power, the omniscient throne, the seat of the machine god himself, harnessing and focus psychic might into the webway, bolstering the Mechanicum-made conduits. So that's what we realized as well, is like that's why he's on the throne. He can't get off the throne because he's keeping the webway stable enough for us to do what we need to do and repair it. And the Eldar built section of the webway have kind of natural shielding, but the more Mechanicum built connector tunnels, because they kind of have reverse engineered it and they're building their own, but theirs is kind of have to rely on the Emperor to keep them in place.
Right.
So that's why he can't. If he gets up, they will collapse in on themselves. So that's bad news there. So back to Ra, Endymion Ra. So Ra goes to a processional aisle in a dead stretch of the webway, littered with broken Eldar statuary, wraithbone husks of machine bodies, and all sorts of small things. And small enough to funnel a demon in. And he's trying to catch this demon, the Drach'nyen. And he says, we only have one chance at this. And Nishom Alvarek argues against it by hauling, saying her warlord Titan would be too large to get through the narrow ground if you want to fight in the open, or we can, the sign of vigilant light can simply end it. And Ra tells her that would not be good news because it would just move around too much. And he says, maybe we can move to the city instead. We can't be way out in the open. He says, but your zealotry is invaluable. She says, do you seek to appease me with terrible morsels of honor, Endymion? And she lets it go. Eventually, Nishom ends up dying just because this demon is too powerful for even a Titan. So the 20 custodians are ready, and Ra doesn't want to risk any more. He says 20 is already a lot. And so 50 Mechanicum battle automata wait in the walls, and Janisha Kroll, who I have a picture of Janisha Kroll here, she is kind of the general of the Sisters of Silence, and Drakkan eventually shows up, and a swarm of lesser demons are coming with it, and this demon is juicing up the demons it's almost an inverse of the Emperor. Like how his psychic power can help juice people up. this demon has a similar property where being around him has like an aura that like lets them be stronger. So these demons are enhanced by this thing's presence.
Right.
So Ra is, getting ready, slams the spear down, and the custodians beside him are all getting ready, kind of getting this rhythm going, getting ready to fight. And he eventually says, kill it. So they start opening fire, because I don't know if you've seen these pictures here, but their spears have guns on the end.
Okay.
So they can shoot with them, and they can also, stab with them.
Right.
So he's getting ready for this. This is kind of what Drach'nyen looks like when it's attacking the Mechanicus guy. As you can see, not much you can do about that.
Yeah.
So, yes, they had those spears, and they're getting ready. So they open fire, and started the machines as well, and they're just blasting at all these demons. And I mean, there's hundreds, if not thousands, of demons coming through right now. So it's not just like a little bit that you can just handle. And it nearly works. I mean, the demon's getting some significant damage. Eventually, it's close enough that Ra spears with his spear, and Kroll hits it with her swords, and her blank presence is weakening this demon as well. And then it's like kind of sitting there dying, and it speaks directly in Ra's own head, and it says, "End of empires." And it doesn't die, and eventually it pulls wreckage from around it and forms into a new body of like refuse and runs away, bleeding back towards the horde back into the warp. And it says, "He will live." And I don't know what it means by he. Like, what do you mean he will live? Who? Huh? Yeah, who are you talking about? So it runs away, and they're like, all right, well, we defeated it, I guess, enough here. So a little later on, the Emperor pulls Ra into a vision. And he's done it more than once. And he shows Ra a deep history of going way back, tens of thousands of years ago, back to when Emperor was a child. And he's showing that basically all of this slow evolution as a slowly psychic species is the same thing that happened with the Eldar, ending in a birth of the new god that ate their empire from the inside out. And he lays out the logic in the terms that he's never really said before. He says, tyranny is not the end, Ra. Absolute control is but the means to an end. So the Emperor is basically saying, like, I have to do what I do for a reason. Like, I have to be as, an emperor like I am, because if you guys don't know what you're dealing with here. Like, nobody knows the danger of the warp like I do.
Right.
So the legions, the imperial truth, the banner religion, all the black ships are coming back to the same problem: is that we need to lock down humanity's psychic evolution, or we're going to die like the Eldar did. And that's kind of why he did the Council of Nicaea, because he's like, psychics are just too dangerous. Like, the potential for it to cascade into these bigger problems is too much. And he says the Webway is the perfect way to help that. We can move and communicate across the galaxy without ever touching the warp again, cutting off our connection completely. Some of the Eldar couldn't even do it. At the height of their empire, they couldn't finish this project. He said, I think I can do it. And the Emperor says to him, you are shedding tears, Ra. And Ra says, I've never done so before. And the Emperor tells him he has once, the night his mother died, but Ra doesn't remember it. And I believe Endymion Ra's mom is the one at the beginning of the book that Valdor killed to his son. So that is Ra.
Yeah.
So back to Zephon. Zaya is there in her suit with Ark and Land, and a convoy of servitors are marching down the palace's deepest level towards the Webway itself. And the route runs through the Hybrid Arch and the Procession of the Eternals, past painted murals of vanquished Old Night warlords. They're going down and down into the rock of Himalayan spine. So Himalayan is just their word for Himalayan mountains, because that's where the palace is built. It's built basically paved over the Himalayan mountains and put the palace there. So moving their way down, and the route was originally like a symbolic pilgrimage. You would basically move through here, and you would see all the history of mankind, all those great things. And it was they called the pilgrimage. And it says the journeys of understanding from ignorance to enlightenment. It was basically this entire human history that the Emperor built. And his cave paintings, unification wars, the Great Crusade, all of it. And it was, when the Great Crusade was over, it was supposed to be a place that people could come to and walk along and see this history of how we won. But unfortunately, it's not going to happen anytime soon, because it's not done yet. And war is also happening on both ways, one in the Webway and one with Horus. So Zephon some remember Zephon as a Blood Angels, and he kind of starts feeling bad because it's not done yet. He's like, man, like, we were so close. And eventually they get to the Eternity Gate, which is this 200 meters of door. So that's a 600-foot tall door. Like, 400 feet was a meter, 3.3 feet.
I think so.
So yeah, 600-something feet of door. And it is so big that apparently some people look at it for too long, they start crying, or they go a little crazy because it's just so magnificent. And even Zephon having a little bit of a moment, looking like, whoa, I don't want to look at that too long. So he ends up going through the door, and there's a little door at the bottom, it's like, can't open the big door every time. So, and also has tens of thousands of banners hanging from for every regiment that's ever fought. It's so much pomp and circumstance.
Right.
And eventually the convoy walks to the Emperor's own throne room to get to the Webway part, and Diocletian says, don't look back. Don't look back, just keep walking. Don't look at him, just keep walking. Don't do what he's doing. And Jai asks, how close are you to the dungeon? Diocletian says, they're the same thing. He's like, wait, what? Because they're trying to get to the throne room and the dungeon are basically the same thing.
Okay.
And one of her own knight pilots looks back anyways and ends up coming out the other side stammering and a little undone. And Zephon almost does it too. And he sees basically layered ghost visions haunting the chamber, basically a single bleeding golden angel with ragged wings. And Diocletian says, like, hey, stop looking, push them away. And Zephon says, Father, basically. Like, it is to look at the Emperor in this, I think we talked about before, but like to look at the Emperor in his form is too much for the mind. That's why usually he hides himself in like a form. Usually, like you see in his golden armor, is kind of even that is a form that he holds. So him in this chair doing what he's doing is so powerful that it's making people go crazy to look at him. He's almost like an eldritch god in a way, this being.
Right.
It's Cthulhu sitting on this throne. I guess it's almost like the king in yellow, really, right? The golden armor.
Right. Yeah.
So eventually, he's like, just keep moving. But the custodians can look at him, though. They don't have this effect. Maybe it's because of the surgeries or what they do to them, but it doesn't affect. So he's like, hey, stop looking, keep going. Goodness. So eventually they pass in the golden mist of the Webway, and they don't look back anymore. So these Warhound Titans start fighting, and they're trying to destroy Calastar, so the enemy has a rough time getting through it. The demons do before they can get in there. And basically opening it up so they can manufacture almost a killing zone.
Right.
And the Warhounds do not survive. Demons are just too much. And they take down these demons and take down these Titans, and but it buys some time. And Diocletian says the walls are already down. And Sagittarius leads squad Dynastus, 12 custodians left of the original 20. So these are the original 20 custodians ever built ever. These are tens of thousands of years old of these guys that are there. And Sagittarius is one of them. And every single one of them are from dead royal Terran bloodlines. And they're fighting in these streets, lined up in a line, just fighting nearly for 2 weeks straight. So you want to talk about, what's his name? Battle Beast and guy from Invincible. What's his name? Oh my goodness. Who's the Emperor from Invincible? Not Omni-Man, but the guy with the mustache. Or the mustache. Yeah, Thrag. I know Battle Beast and Thrag fighting for days. These guys are fighting for weeks. It is crazy.
So the original 20, are they all dreadnoughts or just
Sagittarius? Because he got beat up so much at one point that he got put in there, but these ones are still hanging in there.
Got it. Is Valdor one of the original 20?
Yes.
Okay.
He is. Yes. I think he's the first. I think the first custodian ever made was Valdor.
Got it. So
eventually they count. The warriors return from the mist after games 8, 9, 10, 11. Eventually, Mycorian emerges last. And says, Gathis is down. He says, I would have saved him if there's anything left to save. So Gathis is one of the first dynasties that's ever lost in this fight. There's just too much for even him. And then more follow him. Later on, Uprageous Sagittarius finds Mycorian dead. A bunch of swords went through his back. And this person, Jahaza, is standing over the body, refusing to leave it. And Jahaza has lost half his face, one eye gone, jaw broken off, section of his skull and brain matter taken clean off, but he's still fighting though. Like that's how tough these guys are. He's half a head, and he's just like, I'm still fighting. I'm still in the fight. It's like, okay. It's like when an ant, you like crush like a bug's head, and it's just like keeps walking around. You're like, yeah, all right, man, whatever. Yeah. So he's still fighting, spinning his spear, doing that, but it's like his body just isn't. He's not dying yet. And then Sagittarius eventually has this doubt. He's like, we're gonna lose the city. It's like it's over. Like we can't hold this wave back. So eventually, Drach'nyen kills Custodian Hierarch Astonius and puts on his corpse like a coat. Possesses him, basically. Now, this usually can't happen, but he's dead, so it works.
Okay.
And Sister Marue Yule doesn't realize until it's too late. He speaks to her in a higher tone voice, but it's kind of a little weird, and once he notices it, he always stabs her. And he says, Anathema's daughter. And the demon is basically learning how to outsmart Custodians and the sisters. He's getting too smart. And because the only thing they're actually afraid to get near these demons is Sisters of Silence. That blank power is just, it's so overpowering. Like even for a demon, like basically, if you kill a demon inside the aura of a Sister of Silence, they are dead. They cannot go back to the warp. Okay. So that's real fear right there.
Yeah. Does that still apply if they're possessing?
Yes, because it's kind of like, I think it's like a parasite. A parasite jumps in their brain, takes over the body, like a zombie parasite. That zombie shoot him in the head, the person's not coming back. Right. And the parasite that's in the zombie brain, unless it jumps to a host, it's going to die in that. So it's like that.
Okay.
So at a war council in the Godspire, Diocletian makes the call that Calastar can't be held, but the tunnels of the dungeon can, and we have to give up the city. And the Mechanicum objects, saying, the problem is the Aresian path. We gotta get K. You can't. You said we could have that. And Diocletian says, man, look who's running this war. You don't run this war. Like, relax, all right? Because Mechanicums are a bunch of nerds, basically, at the end of the day. They do weird stuff, but they're very like, hey, but you said this. Whatever, you machine idiot. Shut up, nerd.
And Mom said it's my turn to get the path.
You said you could give us the path. What the heck? Didn't say anything. Shut up. They're so focused on they're so focused on their own things that they don't even care about anybody else's problems.
Mhm.
Like, all humanity could die. They'd be like, okay, as long as Mars doesn't die. So they're very, So in orbit above Terra, Kira is watching the black ships descend through the atmosphere. The Silent Sisterhood ships that are carrying the Psychers harvested from 100 worlds now. Skoya's ship is among them. And this woman, Veronica Sulath, who is a mistress of the Black Fleet, meets with her on the viewing platform, and they speak in sign language. And it says, melancholy has no place within me. You mistake dread for discomfort, Catherine says. And Kira presses her about what's being done to the people in the ships, because they don't know. They're just told to go get these Psychers and bring them back here. They don't really know what they're doing.
Right.
It's just they're being trained as astropaths. And Kira asks a question, or signs a question. And Veronica says, 1,000 souls, Kira. Is it really so many? Is this such a sacrifice? Weighed against the consequences of doing nothing? And then she says, they were burned for 1 day. And that is the unspoken sanction. Is 1,000 harvest Psyker a day that is going to serve the Emperor, basically burned out every single day for as long as they need it. It's not good, but that's what they do. That's the whole point of the black ships. They go get these Psychers, bring them back. They get used as like a battery for the Emperor's power to keep this web open.
Okay, so those Psychers getting used just as a battery for the Emperor to just basically keep his finger on the dam, kind of keep.
Yes.
Okay.
They basically reinforce them, and they get burned out. Some faster than others, but they burned out, and they gotta get more, bring it back, burn out. It really is the brutality of Warhammer,
Right.
Like these Psychers who have all these problems get picked up, and they just get put in these tubes and literally burned alive for however long.
Yeah.
And then it's not even because Psychers sucks too, because then their soul is so bright and powerful. When it goes to warp, demons just like chew on it forever. Like a regular human, your soul doesn't have much presence. It kind of gets washed away in the warp like nothing. But imagine when a whale dies in the warp or the ocean, that landfall, right? They say where all the bugs and fish and whatever pick at it. It's like that.
Okay.
But you're alive. Your soul's alive in the whole process if you're a Psyker. So this process, not only do you get burned out, you also get turned into food for demons. It's not fun.
Would that apply even more when they're Space Marines, or
the same amount? Usually applies how powerful you are as a Psyker.
Okay.
So let's say like Magnus. But also Magnus is so powerful that he can maintain his form enough to not worry about it. So it's kind of a weird range of like, you're so weak as a Psyker that you could shoot on, but sometimes you're so strong that you can like let's say the Emperor ever died. He really wouldn't. He would just be that form and then probably just walk back out again.
Okay.
As himself. So it's a weird range.
Right.
Now these people are not that powerful. If they were, they probably wouldn't even get picked up to begin with. Probably just get killed. So Kira says, look, I know what we need to do, but I just think it's a little much. And Veronica says, we are not the engineers of the Imperium's change sister. We merely react to it. It's like, look, it is what it is. What are we going to do about it? So Kira personally installs the first of the 1,000 Psyker coffins of the machinery around the Golden Throne. Because the servitor's like, let me do it. And she's like, no. I have to do this. And the young man inside wakes as she locks him in the cradle and meets her eyes through the glass and tries to speak, but she can't hear him because these are like soundproofed caskets. She locks him in anyway, and then 999 more sockets sent empty around the chamber, waiting for tomorrow's ship. And the Emperor, and she can see the Emperor as he is. She has, remember, these are blanks, so his psychic effects have no effect on them. They can see him for truly how he looks. So she sees him and just a man in agony. His face is drawn, his mouth open in silent screams, and his fingers twitching against the armrests. Basically, looks like he is really dying here. Like he's sapping all of his power to do whatever he's doing, and that's why they need these Psychers.
Right.
And they can't get too close enough to even say anything because their presence would destabilize the power emanating from it. So they can't really even comfort him in this time. So she's watching from a distance and said, and it's really intense scene because you gotta think 1,000 pods. Like, you don't even know 1,000 people.
Right.
Forget 1,000 a day getting fed to this machine, this torturous machine. But hey, do you want to die because the demon's turning on you or not? Well, either way, you're going to die because the demon's turning because you're a Psyker. But hey, for the rest of us, so yes.
Yeah.
So Skoya wakes up in the coffin as well because she's a Psyker. And she hears a sound rising in slow rolling octaves in this coffin. And basically, she's trying to break out of it, but she can't. I mean, these are perfectly sealed coffins. It's like suffocating her, sapping her life force. And the only thing that exists is this glass so people can see and look if she's alive. Basically, when she burns out, take the pot out, clean it out, put a new one in.
Mm-hmm.
And she's punching against the glass and trying to scream, but nothing comes out. And she eventually dies. And as she dies, she hears something that she hears all the other 999 dying with her. And it says, "It is the very first note in a song that will last 10,000 years and perhaps beyond. She, Skoya, is the first singer." Yeah, so it's brutal. It's the Emperor's not a good guy.
Yeah.
Just to kind of make that clear. He is doing, but to him, it's whatever it takes to do what we need to do. But it's hard because, to be fair, he's only doing this because Magnus couldn't just stay well enough alone. If Magnus didn't break through the webway, this wouldn't be an issue. He would supposedly never need these hikers to juice up the thing. But
right.
It's also funny that he has decided this is the best solution is to make 1,000 batteries for me to juice myself up.
Yeah. Well, I wonder,
we have to do the gas chambers, guys. Trust me.
Yeah.
Well, haven't you tried anything? No, trust me. This is the only way.
1,000 ID. It's I wonder, if you get the most powerful psychers, right, to just help out in some way without.
Well, Magnus was supposed to do this.
Right. And that's what I was thinking. I was like, what if you got him to help, but that he kind of was like, you suck. And then burn that bridge. But
yeah, the Golden Throne was built for Magnus. It was he was supposed to sit on it and do his thing. Now, it wouldn't be as agonizing as for the Emperor, because Magnus is almost on par with the Emperor psychic-wise.
Right.
So it's it definitely, if you had somebody like Magnus, maybe even Malcador. Malcador's pretty strong psychic. He doesn't look like he's like an old man, but he is psychically immensely powerful. I mean, people don't even know because he doesn't really do it often, but like Darth Vader and it's not Darth Vader. You played the Force Unleashed Star Wars game.
Yeah.
You know that part where you have to pull down the Star Destroyer. He's on that level where it's just oh, okay, you just do anything, and he's just but most times looks like this old man.
Right.
But he also looks like an old man with a psychic shield. So sometimes the Scissors of Silence look at him, he looks so old he's almost a skeleton walking around. And so they see people for who they are because they can, but even Magnus, they see Magnus for as he is. Because Magnus makes himself look bigger and redder because of the psychic power. Well, they see him, he just looks like an almost Primarch. And they're like, why are you doing that? Why are you lying on your thing? So yes, they die, they burn out, and all of a sudden one of the coffins, data panel flashes red, and Kara says, the first one has died already so soon. Basically, they're starting to sink in and be like, wow, this is not going to be 1,000. This is going to be thousands, if not millions, by a certain point.
Right.
So, back to Nishomi Alvarek, who is a Princeps, so she's one of the big titans. Her own crew are arguing against the decision to evacuate. And she says, no, we're not fleeing here. And then all of a sudden, the Archimandrite is speaking and says home. And he's calling out to her, and she doesn't know where it's coming from. She's like, what? He keeps saying home. And basically telling her that Mars is her home, not Terra. And she says, and she ignores it. She says, I'm going to stay with my warlord Titan, the scion of vigilant light. And she's making a stand. She kills the enemy warhound first, and it is just destroying them. It is not. This Titan is. I mean, when you get to this big, these warlord Titans, they're like I showed you a picture of them. The cities on the back, you're not stopping one of these things,
right?
Actually, and to go back to Angron a bit, actually, when Lorgar got lasted by the Titan, it was not a warlord Titan. I thought it was. It was actually a warhound Titan. I misread it. So it's one of the smaller ones in with plasma cannon. So if one of these warlord Titans hit him with a volcano cannon, I think Lorgar may have been paced. I want to correct myself on that. Yes.
Okay, so he almost got
killed by a warhound
Titan. By the small ones.
One of the small little STSTs that run around,
Okay.
Yes, if this thing were to do it, he would have been gone, atomized.
Yeah.
Because powers are strong, but they're not. Lorgar really realized that in that moment, oh, I can die. Yeah. I mean, it was 2 warhound Titan shots, to be fair, so that's still a lot.
Yeah.
But, and a whole chain gun blast, so, and almost got stepped on, but Angron caught the foot. So, still, yes. So I want to make the correction because I feel like I definitely said Lord Titan instead of warhound. So, anyways, so she blasts this other Titan with a volcano blast, and it opens it up, and she sticks one of the Titan's hands into it and rips its plasma core out. And it says, full apostate, reap the rewards of treason and heresy. Or it says, fall apostate, because these are, traitor Titans. And the Lexorak, which is this Titan, topples into the abyss, and the reactor goes critical, and a moment later, it blows off her arm, and she's kind of crippled on the bridge. and everybody's dead around her except for her. And she basically broadcasts her victory out. She says, "Hear the last words of Princeps Nishom, Alvarek, and a regal scion. Hear us both. Let us not die unremembered."
So is this also in the Webway?
Yes, this is all happening in the Webway because they found out earlier with the World Eater's helmet that traders are using this too.
Mm-hmm.
They're getting here somehow. We don't know how. Probably through warp shenanigans.
Right.
And so they're getting Titans in here too. So she's fighting the Trader Titan.
Got it. Okay, and do we know what legions they are?
It doesn't always say. I mean, one of them was World Eaters. This one could be World Eaters too. I don't recall. Yeah. I don't know. But then all of a sudden, this other Titan shows up. Black Sky comes into view and is a brother Titan, and she says, "Come rescue me." And he keeps walking over to her, and she's like, "Hello." It's walking over, and all of a sudden she realizes, "Oh, that's not. This thing has been taken over." And Drach'nyen is wearing the Titan now. That's not good.
The demon?
Yes, the demon has taken the Titan soul.
Oh.
So it is like where Harry X comes. That's what I'm saying. The demon's getting smarter and more powerful as time goes. And it goes over to her, and it basically just lights her up. She can't do anything about it. And it says, "Foe death." And it confirms that I've, killing my enemies. And her reactor explodes and blows up the demon's Titan as well, because, it's these plasma cores are like nukes that go off. So the demon kind of dies again, but also doesn't. So he needs to learn again, come back, try again. So Hieronyma, who's still in the Archimandrite, decides the 10,000 have broken faith with Kane's terms, and that Terra doesn't need her the way Mars does, right? That home is on Mars and not Terra. So I don't care what you guys say. We're going to get the Aresian path. It says that there was only one logical answer that conformed to the relevant needs of the Martian primacy. Only one course of action to take. So she secretly diverts dozens of Mechanicum warbands away from the main defense, sending them to instead secure Kane's Aresian path. And she fakes her own destruction to cover the move. Every diverted warband dies for nothing. They're wiped out by these guardians. So they're not actual Eldar, but they're like these statues that come to life that protect, Eldar stuff. Yeah. They're powered by Eldar spirits, but also not really. It's weird. Okay. But yes, but they're very, very strong. They're like size of statues, like Statue of Liberty coming to life and fighting, So there's a bunch of these, and these warband are dying, getting killed by these guardians. And then Traitor Legion ambushes them and dumps an entire Skitarii cohort right into the warp. They're just getting, these guys are being dumb. We go get Aresian path. It's like, okay, cool. Now you're going to go die because there's too many people over there. Yeah. And 1,000 Mechanicum souls are getting just wiped out. That accomplishes nothing. Eventually, Hieronyma is alone and hiding and finally understands what she's done. And she basically tries to walk through the Aresian path on her own. And Drach'nyen is waiting for her. He's like, I'm going to take that suit too. So eventually, the possessed Archimandrite comes back and he's got Devrim Sebek charges it alone in his night and winds up his Gatling cannon and starts shooting it. All of a sudden, his knee buckles and bursts before he can fire it. His knight topples sideways and his head slams into the wall. The pilot's head slams into the wall and he's knocked out for a moment. And the Archimandrite's tread comes down on him slowly, breaking him down, knees, shoulders, elbows, ribs, and just crushing him while he's trying to get his helmet off. And Sagittarius also loses an arm in like the same machine. So this Archimandrite is a powerful machine. And it's also not demon possessed. So it's even more dangerous. Right. So, Sagittarius loses an arm and a leg to it. So Zephon eventually catches up and he puts grenades on it by hand and starts running away. And it blows up some of the parts of the Archimandrite. And Jaya finishes off with a bare fist through his chest. And she says, "For Sebek, for the Emperor." And then all of a sudden, in this realm that has no sun, light breaks like a physical sunrise. And the demon horde loses whatever order it had left. Basically, they all start, and they say, the anathema comes, the sun rises. The first time, the only time in the war, the Emperor walks among the Custodians on foot. He has gotten up off the throne. He says, "I'm getting in here." Gandalf the White comes back. And he's on foot, hair, dark hair, all that look, right? And he's carrying a normal bolter and his sword. And he's not saying anything. And he's just cutting through these demons like hot knife through butter. Hot knife through styrofoam. It's no challenge at all. Thousands of demons are falling to him. He is unstoppable. And to look at him was to go blind. To stand before him was to die. He is a god among men here. And the 10,000 are like, I'm ready to go now. I was getting a little hesitant, but now I'm ready to go. So they start charging behind him. And they're fighting shoulder to shoulder. And it is going pretty well, obviously. And Ra is fighting with the Emperor back-to-back, spear and swords, weaving a lattice, and no demons getting through. It is a tornado of death. And for a while they're winning, and they're pushing back, actually, these demons back. So they're feeling good. And all of a sudden the Emperor stops. And he says, "Reveal thyself." And it shapes out of the ash. A man, long hair, dark skin, tribally marked, carrying a flint spear, wearing the same fresh wound that Jaya's last battle left on the Archimandrite. So Drach'nyen has chosen his final form to look like a man, a tribal man. For the first time in the whole war, Ra sees doubt in his master's eyes. So the Emperor, for seconds, which is, I mean, so that's what you're dealing with here.
Right.
So for a demon to show up looking like a caveman, then we go, hey, I'm going to start sweating. Yeah, that's bad news. There's also, I didn't cover it in here, but there is a vision that he also gives Ra as well, that back when he was a kid, the Emperor had killed his uncle. It's the first time he ever killed somebody. His uncle had killed his father. And he said, that is the way humans are. We just kill and kill and kill. And that's kind of another vision he has, basically, to show Ra. And I don't think, I must skip over an accent, but yes, that is one of the visions he shows him. He sees him as a child. So, and this Drach'nyen forming this form, it looks similar to his uncle. And I think, and that's also why it was like, oh, you're like really that old. Like you can even recall that.
Okay. And this is just a regular demon, right? This is
the first murder demon. So this is the demon that came from the first murder that was building up over in time for every single murder that had ever happened. So you got to think at this point, 30,000 years in the future, every murder ever from humans had given this thing power. So yeah, it's a little juiced up because it was born from the first murder, and every murder since then built it up.
Okay, but it's not like
it's not a greater demon, but it's not a demon of any god.
Okay,
it's not like an Urgal, Slanesh, Tzeentch. It's not a Khorne. None of those. It's its own thing. It's such a powerful demon on its own.
Okay,
because almost even before those demons even existed, it's kind of the implication. I mean, they've always existed in a way. It's weird, but like it doesn't answer to them because it wasn't born from them. It was born from humanity. So it's almost like a symbolism of humanity's own murder, right? It's self-killing.
Okay.
And that's why it appears here as this caveman, because that was the first murder, was a caveman killing another caveman with a rock, right? Or a spear or whatever.
Got it.
So they start fighting, him and this demon, the Emperor, and they are fighting each other in such a way that they're almost flashing in and out of existence. Like it's such a metaphysical fight. And nobody can keep up with them. It is so intense and so fast moving that even when blood comes out, it burns into ash as it comes out of the body. It's just so hot. And 5 talons, each one the length of a spear, punch clean through the Emperor's back. This demon catches him. And Ra sees something in a moment that no Custodian is normally shown. That everybody sees a different face and look at the Emperor. And the 10,000 have never experienced it, as they're trained to only see their master. And for one moment, while he watches them bleed, Ra sees several faces at once. A boy who would be king, an old dying man, a knight crowned in laurels, a barbarian warlord grinning through bloody teeth. Some of them are men that the Emperor might have actually been at some point in his life, and some never existed at all. It says the Emperor's boots left the misty ground. He rarely even struggled as he was lifted, impaled by the 5 spearing talons. And Ra screams the order to close ranks, basically, you gotta save him. He's getting killed. And the demon speaks out and he says, I am the end of empires. And the Emperor says, stay back, all of you, stay back. And Drach'nyen says, I am your death. And the Emperor says, perhaps one day, but not this day. And the Emperor is stabbed with his talons, and all of a sudden, he's stabbed again by a living, screaming sword that stabs through his chest. Basically, Drakan turns into a sword to kill him. Okay. Look, you gotta understand, it's just how it works. Demons just do stuff.
It just happened.
Yeah, he just stabs the talons and closes the talons, and he's like, now I'm a big sword, I stab with my big sword body. And then eventually, the Emperor pulls the sword at him, and he looks at Ra, and he says, and he throws the sword at Ra. He stabs Ra through the chest. And Ra is like, well, what the heck? Like, why would you do that? And every vision that the Emperor has shown Ra, of course, this entire war, every vision, every piece of his philosophy, everything was exactly for this moment. The Drach'nyen cannot be killed. It can only be contained. And the Emperor deliberately put it into one Custodian. He spent 5 years personally making ready to hold this weight. And the Emperor says, when all that is ash and dust, be ready. And then he tells him personally, a command heard by nobody else, tells him, just run. And so Ra obeys, because, I mean, he has to, right? He's a Custodian. And he runs. It says, Ra and Endymion, Drach'nyen's golden jailer, the son of a water thief, obeyed the last command he would ever be given. He ran. So he just runs down the webway, just gone. And they start heading back through the portal. Diocletian's last one through the portal, and saying that Ra didn't fall. He was right beside him the whole fight. And he just ran. He saw him run out into the mist, gone. And the survivors regroup. Jay is staring at her own reflection in her helmet visor. Archenland is shaking and chanting prayers. Sagittarius is alive, but I mean, barely. And the demon horde is still pressing toward her. And they're getting closer and closer. And the Emperor gets back on the throne and stares at the portal, waiting and watching for the long moment that Diocletian can't read as his grief or hesitation or hope. And he closes his fist, and the webway caught fire. Every generator in the chamber dies at once. The archway that was supposed to be humanity's escape from the war becomes an ornate door leading to bare rock. The great work, years in planning, the Emperor's own answer to the Eldar's extinction ends here by his own hand, sealed with Ra sealed on the other side forever. As he says, I can't, we have to give it up.
Right.
So it collapses in on itself. And that is the end of the webway. So, weeks after the war ends, Emperor takes Diocletian alone to an ancient buried ruin far beneath Terra's deserts. A machine crypt of unknown origin that in some mechanicum belief is where the Golden Throne's core came from. And the Emperor just says, maybe not quite. No, who knows? But he eventually tells Diocletian what he believes is the outcome of this entire war. He says, the war is over, Diocletian. Win or lose, Horus has damned us all. Mankind will share his ignorance until the last man or woman draws the species' last breath. The war will forever be cancer in the heart of all humans. The Imperium may at last 100 years, 1,000, or 10,000, but it will fall, Diocletian. It will fall. The shining path is lost to us. Now we rage against the dying of the light. Diocletian refuses. He says, no, we'll kill Horus, we'll rebuild, we'll purge the webway, and we'll start again. And the Emperor tells him that he intends to face Horus himself, and it changes nothing in the long run. Another traitor will rise after this one is the way of things. And he says, what if I am gone, Diocletian? Diocletian has no answer. What do you mean? You won't die? That's crazy. And the Emperor turns and walks in the dark and says 3 words. I don't know. And that's where it ends. He says, what will happen next? He says, I don't know.
Interesting.
Because Emperors always know. You know, he says, I can see 10,000 paths. I just don't see what's under the ocean. But right now, I have nothing. So, yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, that's, interesting.
Yeah.
It's a very, I want to say heavy episode because it's like nothing really happens, but it really goes to show like Magnus really messed up.
Right.
Like, and even the Emperor can now see like it's over. Like Horus is won.
Right.
Like even though I'm not dead, even though he's not here, it's over. Like that was our last hope was the webway, and that's it.
Right. His big plan is definitely not coming to fruition.
Like there'll be another guy after Horus, another guy after Horus, and another one after that, another one after that, and it was never end because stupid demons. That's what they do. So yes.
Yeah.
But yeah. Any questions on that one?
Yeah. So a couple of things. I think right at the end, you're like, they trained up Ra for 5 years, but then when they initially took him, he was like a child, right? So
no, it was 5 years basically.
Oh, since he was getting the visions.
Yes.
Okay.
So it's 5 years after, like some stuff had happened. He became a custodian, all that stuff. He did all the training, but then Emperor personally spent time with him for 5 years.
Okay.
To build him up to this moment.
Yeah.
To be like, you need to run. I'm going to put this unkillable demon in you and run. You need to run away, which is crazy because the Emperor's sword. You see in this picture here of like the book cover, like that flaming sword kills demons for good. If he hits a demon with this sword, they're gone. His sword. It just was. It wouldn't work.
Yeah.
So that's when we realized. Yeah. So let me just. When he turned to his sword, he threw the sword and Ra said, "Run."
Yeah.
He did, and we never see Ra again.
Yeah.
So who knows?
So now Ron is running through the webway, I guess.
Yep.
But the webway goes to other places, right? So is he gonna come out at some random point?
He could.
Or
I'll tell you. It's kind of a spoiler. Not for another 10,000 years. Yeah. It's. It's a long time.
Okay.
It is. He does not reappear until way after even the heresy.
Got it. Okay.
In any capacity, and even then, he's But we'll get to that eventually. It's kind of a short story, honestly. When he comes back, it's not really
like a main lore.
It's like I think it's in the Codex. Honestly, it's like a side block where there's like, yep, this is how this happens. Anyways, oh, okay. It's not like a full thing of like what happens with him in the warp or the webway. He just runs.
Yeah.
Runs until he can't anymore. He just kept running and running.
And so now I guess the webway, at least on Terra, is closed.
It's
right?
closed.
So they can't.
Demons cannot get in through there anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, they can maybe figure it out, but they're definitely not gonna be able to normally because he basically collapsed that exit.
Yeah,
that tunnel is closed. So
yeah. Now, does that now make it to where the Emperor is going to get involved with the heresy moving forward? Okay.
He is now available to go do that, at least partially.
Right.
He's not going to leave Earth, though, on Terra, because it's, at this point, they already know Horus is, like, here in a way. Like, remember in the last episode we talked about, like, Dorn noticed that, like, there are things happening from these traders in different parts of the galaxy, not galaxy, the solar system. There you go. So it's like, oh, they're already here in small numbers.
Right.
So it's like, his Emperor's like, well, I guess I'll just wait for him to show up.
Yeah.
So when he does show up, he says, I'm going to get him one-on-one. Nobody get involved. It's me and him.
Okay.
So I'll sort him out. So, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I guess was it ever explained kind of how he got off the throne, was able to do
The batteries, the psycho batteries.
Yeah,
Basically,
so that was enough.
Yeah, it was enough to kind of keep it going for the time that he was like, let me get up and go do this fight, and then I'll come back and sit back down on it.
Okay.
So basically, it's bought him some time to do that.
Okay.
It was just a very expensive, brutal thing. So in a way, almost the Emperor has the power of 1,000 psychers, in a way. Think about it like that. Really more, technically, but just to keep the webway open, it takes 1,000 psychers.
Right.
So he has the power of 1,000 psychers, and he just does that one thing. So it's like, it's really limitless on power he has, because it is what it is. I mean, they call him anathema, right? Which is the opposite of the demon, right? Like they're afraid of him. When he shows up, it's like a second son is formed. That's how powerful he is. And they start running away. Until Drach'nyen shows up, he's like, stop running. It's fine. I can handle him.
Right.
And actually, yeah, you see the Emperor like struggle. Like he's stabbed. You're like, whoa, what?
Yeah.
He's gonna die? No, of course not. He always does, but he doesn't.
Yeah.
And he goes right back out, of course.
Okay.
Yeah, because if it was a Primarch, either he would have died or they would have like put him in the hospital for a couple weeks. Because I mean, that scene where we talked about in Imperium Secundus when Alpha Legion ambushes Gilliman, 10 guys. I mean, he almost dies.
Right.
Like they have him in the surgery room, and they're like, "Hey, if you were to get hit in the head with one of those shots, you would have been dead." Whereas the Emperor gets killed by, not killed, but he gets attacked by the strongest demon ever, and he's just like, "All right, I'm good." That was close, huh?
Yeah. So would this demon and power scaling aside, would you put this on par with a Chaos God, or like?
It's hard because Chaos Gods aren't really physical like this demon is. They have forms, but they also like represent ideas as well. Like
they really actually do something. Yeah,
they never will leave their domain.
Okay.
Like Khorne sits on his like throne forever because he doesn't need to do anything else. His demons do a form, and like there's only one time that actually happens. I think there's this demon called, I think it's Scarbrand. I can't remember what his like full name is, but he has basically a giant scar across his face. His wings are like all destroyed because he got so ambitious. He says, "I'm gonna go kill Khorne myself, and I'll become the new Khorne." And Khorne, like, he goes to attack Khorne, and Khorne just basically like flicks him away and sends him flying through the galaxy so fast and so powerfully that I think it takes like 10,000 years for him to stop or something crazy like that. And like burns away his wings, and like he has this thing. Yeah, so it's like they're untouchable. Okay. But actually, and I don't know if it's in the heresy or before or after, but there's a part where the Emperor opens up a portal to Nurgle's garden, and he sets it on fire to the point where Nurgle is like, they start panicking, and he like actually starts getting hurt by the Emperor's presence. Okay. So the Emperor could possibly go in there and kill them. It just is very dangerous, one. And two, it's like, I'll get around to it, you know?
Right.
But yeah, he's strong enough to go into Nurgle's garden, which one, if anybody goes into Nurgle's garden, you just die. Like the sickness is just so powerful, you turn to like a zombie instantly. They went in there and set it on fire to the point of that Nurgle started panicking. He said, get him out. And I think they had to like through a portal or something. I can't remember how it ends, but it was something like that. I'd have to read the story again, but no, there's definitely, Emperor's number one. I mean, yeah, easily. But the problem is that Warp is so like, one-on-one, he could probably take on maybe a Chaos God. All four of them powering Horus, that's a way different story. Like, you can't handle it. Also, like, Drach'nyen is such a being of like pure energy that like, it's just not even, it's tricky, right? Because it's like, you can't, that's what I'm saying, like, power scaling is difficult. It's like, could he? Maybe, but he would need something to do it with. Like, if he goes under Nurgle's garden with a 10,000, maybe he would get enough. But who knows? Nurgle has a secret poison he's been cooking up that the writer says actually makes the Emperor sick, you know? Like, right. It's impossible to say because you can only have to go up what is written. And what is written is that this one super demon almost killed the Emperor. Not killed, but he definitely hurt him, which is unheard of. So, yeah. You know, not that he stabbed him through and gonna lift him up off the ground. Like, so is that demon stronger than Chaos Gods? I don't know. Yeah. Because it's also just a sword now. Like, it can't undo the sword form, I guess. It's stuck in, it's weird. Yeah. Okay.
I know they said it can only really be, like he said, it can't be destroyed, it can only be contained.
Right. So it's contained in this sword. Yeah. Which is not the Emperor's sword, it's a different sword.
The other.
Yeah. Let's see a picture of it. It kind of looks like that.
Okay.
It's a big sword, great sword type thing. It is the first. Has these faces on it. Yeah, it's real crazy looking.
Nice.
But yes, that is stabbing Ron as he's running away forever.
Right.
The next 10,000 years. Yeah, so
Nice.
that was basically Master Mankind. That's what the Emperor's been doing. And I think it's interesting.
Yeah.
Definitely.
So.
At least seeing what the Emperor's been doing.
Yeah, for sure. I guess in kind of jumping to modern stuff, has the Webway really ever been brought up again, or is it just kind of
It's gone.
Yeah.
It's full of demons at this point.
Okay.
Like that leak just, never stopped. And it's basically it would be pointless to even try to take it back.
Okay.
Like you just can't. Yeah. It's over. Like that's basically what he says, like it's over. Like
Right.
we've lost.
Okay.
The only salvation we could have had in these tunnels that the Eldar built us, it's gone. And we're gonna suffer the same way the Eldar did at one point. So yes. Yeah, next thing after this is going to be, I think, Path of Heaven, which is back to the White Scars because they're trying to get to Terra. And they stuck the Emperor. So
Nice.
yes, Path of Heaven. Yep. All right. If that's all that we have for now, thanks for watching. And if you liked it, do all that stuff, like it, subscribe, tell your friends, share it. And if you got this far, comment, who's your favorite Custodes? I really like Valdor, which I think most people do. But yeah. Anyways, till next time. Bye.